Good. Hello, students. I hope that you all are well and safe at your home. Welcome in your science class. In class 8th, we have discussed 5 chapters. So, today is the turn of the chapter number 6, Combustion and Flame. In the previous chapter, we have studied about exhaustible natural resources and also released why they are great importance to us. Natural resources such as coal, petroleum and natural gas have several domestic and industrial applications. Can you identify the different type of fuels that are used around? Can you spot some differences in the burning? For example, when you light a candle and turn on the gas stove in your kitchen, do you see any difference in the burning? When you see the charcoal or coal burning, do you find the burning to be same as the candle or the LPG? No. The candle and the LPG burn with the flame, but the coal does not. Beta, have you ever thought what makes them burn in the different ways? In this chapter, we will find out the process of burning or combustion in this chapter. Means in the chapter of combustion and flames, we study about the process of burning or combustion. Now, the question arises, what is combustion? Combustion is the process of burning of a substance in the presence of oxygen to release energy in the form of heat and light. So, what is the necessary thing for the burning? Oxygen. Means presence of oxygen is very necessary when we burn anything. The substance which undergo combustion are known as combustible substance. It may also be known as fuel. So, I am repeating the definition of the combustion. A chemical process in which a substance reacts with oxygen to give off heat and light is called combustion. The burning of wood is an example of combustion. Let's see the figure. What we need? First of all, what we need? We need a fuel. Then we need a supporter of combustion, that is oxygen. Then what we need to do? We need to heat that substance by a particular temperature that we call it as the ignition temperature that we study in this chapter also. So, what are the necessary conditions for the combustion? Means presence of the combustible substance, that is fuel. Then supporter of combustion, that is oxygen. And the third one is ignition temperature, means heat is required up to a particular temperature. Then what happens? Then it get exhaust, it gives heat. Now, study the combustible substances and non-combustible substances. The combustible substances need the availability of oxygen as well as the right amount of heat in order to combust, in order to burn. The substances which undergo combustions are called combustible substances. For example, wood, LPG, kerosene, petrol, paper, natural gas, methane. When these substances burn, carbon dioxide and water are formed as products and heat and light energies are released. Now, non-combustible substances. The substances which do not catch fire easily in the presence of air are called non-combustible substances. For example, iron, glass, stone and water. I hope you have seen many types of the combustible and non-combustible substances around here. Now, let's see the term fuel. Any substance which upon combustion produces a amount of heat energy is known as fuel. Means when any substance which we burn and produces some amount of heat energy is known as fuel. For example, fossil fuels that you have studied in your previous chapters, biogas, nuclear energy, etc. The fuels can be solid, liquid or gas depending on their state. On the basis of their occurrence, on the basis of the occurrence of the fuel, it can be either natural or artificial. Ignition temperature. The minimum temperature to which a combustible substance must be heated before it catches the fire is called the ignition temperature. Means when we have to burn any substance, we need to heat up to a particular temperature, and that temperature for the substance is known as, at which it catches fire, is known as the ignition temperature of that substance. For example, kerosene oil and wood do not catch fire on their own at the room temperature. But if both were heated a little, then kerosene oil will catch fire and not the wood. This shows that the ignition temperature of kerosene oil is lower than that of the wood. Now, see what are inflammable substances. The substances which have very low ignition temperature and can catch fire easily with the flame are known as inflammable substances. Means the substances which has very low ignition temperature, with a single ignite of a matchstick they can catch fire. LPG. The domestic cylinders which we are using in our kitchen contains LPG, and you just light a lighter and it is very small, if you have observed, very small amount of just tickling heat, and then with the tickling heat that it start burning. Similarly, diesel also. Now, see, what do you mean by the term fire? Fire is the result of a chemical combustion reaction between oxygen and any fuel. Means when there is a reaction between any fuel and the oxygen, what happens? It catches fire. How long a fire lasts and how much fuel and oxygen are available. If anything starts burning, what we can say? When it will stop? It will stop when either the fuel is not available or we cut the supply of the oxygen, howsoever. Now, let's study the candle flame. This we have already studied. For the generation of fire, we need three things to be present. The first one is combustible substance, another one is oxygen, and the third one is we have to heat that substance up to its ignition temperature. So, fuel what it needs? Oxygen, and the heat means it needs the heat up to its ignition temperature. Then what it becomes? It becomes fire. Flame. Flame is the visible and gaseous part of the fire. What we see as the flame is light energy releases due to the combustion of fuel. Beta, I hope that you have seen the candle flame. I request you to observe the candle flame. Now let's see the flame of a candle. Candle is made up of wax and it has a wick thread, you can see, that burns. So it is divided into three parts, that is hottest part, moderately hot or least hot. You can say outer zone, middle zone and inner zone. Outer zone of the candle has complete combustion, middle zone partial combustion and the inner zone of unburned wax vapors. We study these in details too. The outer part, or you can say the hottest part, is of which color? It is of blue color. Moderately hot part is of yellow color and the least hot part is of black color. I'm again repeating, outer zone or hottest part is of blue color, moderately hot or middle zone is of yellow color and the least hot part, or you can say innermost zone, is of black color. The outermost zone. This zone is blue in color and the hottest part of the flame. It is in direct contact with air, so the oxygen availability is sufficient. Due to this, it is the zone of complete combustion. No soot is formed in the complete combustion. Middle zone. This zone is yellow and orange in color. It does not receive sufficient oxygen, so the partial combustion takes place in this zone. The wax vapors does not burn properly, resulting in the formation of black soot. The flame appears orangish yellow because of partial combustion. Partial combustion means incomplete combustion. The middle zone is moderately hot and it is the bright part of the flame. Inner zone. This zone is grayish dark in color. This is the coolest part of the flame because no combustion takes place in this zone. This is because no oxygen is available. The poisonous gases such as carbon monoxide are produced in this zone. Again, have a look of the figure. Candle has three zones: outer zone, middle zone and the innermost zone. Outer zone is of blue color, middle zone is of yellow color and the innermost zone is of black color. Smoke. Smoke is an example of solid dispersed in gases. Means any unburnt particles which are present in the air, we call it as smoke. The black color of smoke is due to the presence of unburnt carbon particles. Let's study the type of combustions. The type of combustion varies, or you can say depends on the type of fuel. Based on the nature and intensity of fuel, the combustion is classified into three types. They are rapid combustion, spontaneous combustion, and explosion. Let's first study the rapid combustion. The combustion in which a large amount of heat is produced within a very short time is called rapid combustion. For example, LPG burns quickly, producing a lot of heat. When a gas lighter is brought near a gas stove and its knob is turned on, the gas immediately starts burning. Heat and light are produced as a result of this reaction. Next one is spontaneous combustion. When a substance suddenly bursts into flame without any external heating or any apparent cause, it is called spontaneous combustion. Let's again see this. The type of combustion in which substances catch fire on their own without the application of heat is termed as spontaneous combustion. Means when without giving any flame, without heating it to any ignition temperature physically, if any substance get heated and catch fire, we call that the spontaneous combustions. You have heard of the forest fire. Forest fire are causes of spontaneous and are caused due to sun's heat or something due to lightning. Let's study the difference between the rapid and the spontaneous combustion. Rapid combustion, it is to be initiated once. Spontaneous, it takes place by itself. Rapid, external heat is required to start it once, whereas in the spontaneous combustion no external heat is required to start. Rapid combustion, large amount of heat and light is evolved in a very short time. Spontaneous combustion, a small amount of heat and light is evolved. In the rapid combustions, the examples are burning of domestic cooking gas in a gas burner. Spontaneous combustion, burning of white phosphorus on its own when kept exposed in air for some time. Or forest fire. And there is a third type of the combustion also, that is explosion. The combustion is characterized by the sudden release of heat, light, sound, and accompanied with the release of a large amount of gas is called explosion. For example, burning of crackers produces a large amount of heat, light, gas, and sound. Matchstick. I hope that everybody has seen the matchstick. What are the components of the matchstick? Can you imagine by yourself? Try to remember. What is there in a matchstick? Matchstick has a wooden stick with a red ended. A substance is there on the red ended. What it is? It is phosphorus. What it is? It is phosphorus. And outside the matchstick box, what it is? There are again some substances. Then what happens? You just strike your matchstick with that and then it starts get a fire. So let's study this. The main component of the bulb of a matchstick is red phosphorus, which turns into white phosphorus on heating. White phosphorus spontaneously ignites, thereby increasing the temperature of the wooden stem to the ignition point and the matchstick start burning. Let's study this. Red phosphorus on the matchstick head, or you can say the wooden head, on the side of the matchbox. Red phosphorus is there and the powdered glass is there. When the matchstick is rubbed on the side of the matchbox, the friction produces, and due to the friction, start catches fire. Fire extinguisher. If any uncontrollable fire is there, anything is there that is not desirable, what we need to do? We need to control the fire. Fire can be controlled by removing any of the factors. That is, either we can remove the fuel or oxygen or the ignition temperature. Means how we can remove the ignition temperature? By lowering the temperature. So what we need to do? We must have a fire extinguisher so that it can control the fire. The role of the fire extinguisher is to cut off the supply of oxygen or bring down the temperature of both fuel or the fire too. We study the fire extinguishers in the details also. Let's study the calorific value. Do you know what do you mean by the term calorific value? Because it is very important and you might have studied in your previous classes too. The ideal fuel I'm telling the characteristics of the ideal fuel. The ideal fuel is cheap, easily available and readily combustible. It has high calorific value. It does not produce harmful gases or residues that pollute the environment. Okay, now we will study the definition of the calorific value. The amount of heat energy produced on complete combustion, mean on complete burning of 1 kilogram of a fuel, is called its calorific value. The calorific value of a fuel is expressed in a unit called kilojoules per kilogram. I'm again repeating the definition of the calorific value. The amount of heat energy released by a unit quantity of fuel on complete combustion in oxygen is called calorific value of the fuel, and its SI unit is kilojoules per kilogram. Let's compare some of the fuels with their calorific value. Calorific value of wood is between 17,000 to 22,000 kilojoules per kilogram. Petrol 45,000 kilojoules per kilogram. CNG 50,000 kilojoules per kilogram. Hydrogen gas 1,50,000 kilojoules per kilogram. Means a substance or a fuel is a better if it has its calorific value is high. But hydrogen is considered as the best fuel as it has the highest calorific value. But however, it is difficult to handle in a gas form. So, in the liquid, hydrogen is used as a fuel in the spacecraft. Efficiency is that proportion of energy released by a fuel combustion process which is converted into useful work, means efficiency. The efficiency of a fuel can be tested by the calorific value of a substance. calorific value is directly proportional to its efficiency. Means if a substance has higher calorific value, its efficiency is also high, and if the calorific value is low, its efficiency is low. For example, what I have told you, wood has low calorific value as compared to the LPG. Pollution. I hope this term is very clear to you. Let's study the harmful products from burning of fuel that causes the pollution. The burning of fuel like wood, coal and petroleum produces unburnt carbon particles in the air, which causes respiratory problems. Incomplete combustion of fuel produces a very poisonous gas called carbon monoxide. Global warming. The combustion of fossil fuels also releases a large amount of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas which is responsible for the global warming. What do you mean by the term global warming? Global warming is a rise in the overall temperature of the Earth's surface. This leads to the melting of polar caps and a rise in the sea level, and further resulting into flooding of coastal regions. Unburnt carbon particles. Carbon fuels like wood, coal, candle, petroleum releases unburnt carbon particles, and these fine particles are dangerous pollutants causing respiratory diseases such as asthma. Again, see the flame of the candle. The innermost zone. Flame heat vaporizes wax into molecules of hydrogen and carbon. Then the inner zone, initial formation of the carbon particles, and then outermost zone, carbon particles ignites and become incandescent, that produces a bright light. And in the atmosphere, carbon dioxide and water vapors are released. CO emission means carbon monoxide emission. Carbon monoxide is a poisonous gas which is produced by the incomplete combustion of the fuels. It is dangerous to burn coal in a closed room as it produces carbon monoxide, and which can kill person sleeping in that rooms. Means if we are using any angeeti in the room to heat the room during the winter time, then if all the windows and the door is closed, then that fuel in the angeeti get converted into carbon monoxide, and that carbon monoxide becomes poisonous and can kill the person sleeping in that room. Global warming. This we have just discussed right now. Let's revise it. The rise in the average temperature of the Earth's atmosphere due to the release of carbon dioxide on combustion of fuels is known as global warming. Melting of polar ice caps or change in the rainfall pattern are the results of the, or you can say the consequences of the global warming. There are the 10 indicators of a warming world due to global warming. What happens? Temperature over the land increases. Due to this, glaciers and the snow covers melts down. And ocean gets heat. Sea level, sea surface temperature, temperature over the oceans and the humidity all gets increases. Due to this, sea ice gets reduced. And air temperature near the surface means at the troposphere is also increasing. These are the 10 indicators of a warming world, means global warming. Acid rains. You have heard the word rain, but did you heard the word acid rains? Let's see what is acid rain. Burning of coal and diesel releases sulfur dioxide. This gas is extremely corrosive and suffocating in nature. Petrol gives off oxides of nitrogen. The oxides of sulfur and nitrogen get dissolved in rainwater and forms acid. This is known as acid rains. I'm again repeating the things of the acid rains. With the burning of any substances, sulfur dioxides or nitrogen dioxides gases are released in air. When these oxides of sulfur and nitrogen get dissolved in rainwater and forms acid, this is known as acid rains. Means when the sulfur dioxide is react with water, it forms sulfuric acid, and when the nitrogen dioxide is mixed with the water H2O, it gives nitric acid HNO3. It is a very harmful effect on plant, land and aquatic animals and the infrastructure too. Let's see this with the help of a figure. Acid rain. Sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxides are released in the atmosphere due to the various when rain comes, these SO2 and NO2 comes in contact with the water and forms H2SO4 and HNO3. When the rain comes on the earth with some acids, the rain is known as acid rains. CNG. The use of diesel and petrol as fuels in automobiles is being replaced by CNG. What is CNG? It is a compressed natural gas. Why it is used in place of the diesel and the petrol? Because it is less polluting and a cleaner fuel. That's all in today's class. I'm repeating what we have discussed today. In this chapter, we have discussed combustion, combustible substances, non-combustible substances. What are the necessary conditions for the combustion, type of combustions? Then we have studied flame, zone of candle flame, the fuel, calorific value, characteristics of the fuel and effects of burning fuel, acid rain and the fire extinguishers. The fire extinguisher in more detail we will discuss in our next class. In your book on the page number 88, 2 activities are given. Try to perform these 2 activities at your home. Make sure that whenever you are performing these activities, you must perform in the presence of any elder. That's all in today's class. I hope that you had learned. Thank you. Bye bye.